really curious about how you prepare when you don't know who you're playing. Do you have one assistant do the scout on Washington State, another assistant on Cal? How does that all work out with your staff?
Correct. So, it's really easier than you think, because the conference tournament, like if not only scouting, we've played them all already. We've also, through scouting other games, we've watched each other in our conference so much by now that it's not like you're going to, if you don't know your conference opponents by now, you're in trouble. So I'm worried about us. I think what you're getting at is the preparation's easy. So yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head who does. I think Darren does Cal. I think maybe Rod or Mike. I can't remember which one does Washington State, but anyway. So whoever had them during the regular season will have them again. But I'm more worried about us, Tracy. So as far as what we're trying to get fresh, get our legs back. We're 0-0 now. It's been a long grind for everybody. I'm not talking about us. This season's a long grind. Expectations, blah, blah, blah. So, I just want us to get our mind fresh and our legs fresh. So that's my goal for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and build us back up, work on some things we need to work on. But it's at this time of year, there's not a lot of live combat in practice. None yesterday, very little today. There'll be a little bit tomorrow, but just trying to get our conditioning. I think conditioning is a secret weapon. So more of going up and down without defense, just trying to get our cardio and our conditioning and being fresh. I'm more worried about that than our opponent. But
then do you have a walkthrough Thursday morning? Yeah.
Well, what'll happen is that whatever time that game is played, after that game, we'll have a film session. I mean, it's already, both scouts are in the bag already.
Right.
So as soon as that game's over, we'll have a scouting meeting and a film session, and then we'll have a Thursday morning. We'll have a walkthrough.
I know Johnny's still coming back a bit from that injury, but I mean, if you got some wood there, maybe hit on it, because you're looking like you might be among the healthiest you've been for a while, maybe.
We'll see. That's today. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so we'll see. Johnny, it was he fell off the scooter and then the ankle. So it's just thrown his rhythm all off. That's why I was hoping he felt good. I didn't know, I was worried he'd get out there and then he wouldn't feel good and he was going to play 2 minutes in the the USC game. But I was trying to get his rhythm back, because he's just with the hip and then the ankle, in, out, no practicing. So just trying to get him and our team into a rhythm. It'd be nice to be able to play a few games, obviously preferably 3, and try to get into a rhythm for the following week.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, let's go to Sam Cronin from SI.
Hey, Coach. How's it going?
Sam, you with Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
That's big. That's big money, man. That's big time. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, big brand. So there's a lot of talk after the game on Saturday and then talking about conditioning now, about how health and conditioning and all that's important. But if there's in technique or on the court thing that you think this team needs to work on heading into March, what do you think is maybe the one thing in that category?
Well, I would add, when conditioning and health on it, I'd say mentally. You can't have your team burn out mentally. I have a saying in our program, I've always had this: mental state is everything. In life, you can think we all got issues, in our own life, and you can convince yourself that you're tired, or you can convince yourself you're unhappy, or you can go convince yourself that you got a great opportunity, and convince yourself the sun's up and it's time to be happy and seize the day. So that's a big part of it. But I say technically for us, it is not just one thing. Like I just came down from a staff meeting where we're going over those stuff, Sam, that stuff, how do we execute better and get better shots? How can we get some of our shooters cleaner looks? How do we, and then defensively, when are we at our best? Not lineup wise, that's pretty obvious. But we have, when are we at our best as far as getting deflections and stops? Just trying to analyze it. Like, we can't win. Like I was analyzing our Arizona game last night at Arizona. Just because we came back from double-digit deficit and had it down to 3 and had an egregious foul off the ball by Tiger. But anyway, how did we get back in it? How did we start stopping them? So, I just try to analyze everything. You can always execute. Yeah, I think execution in March, Sam, to wrap it up, is huge because you're going to have to win close games. So I'm going to lose my mind if I turn on the TV and hear one more announcer, Sam, say, this is a team that can win a game in the NCAA tournament. I can't take it anymore. Really? They just won their conference. I would hope that they can win a game, and anybody can win a game in the NCAA. So point being, you're going to have to beat a good team, to win one game. Every game you're going to have to beat good teams. So execution becomes paramount on both ends. So you got to try to analyze that. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out we need to get Jaime the ball, right?
Yeah. Is this kind of the most confidence you've ever had in a team going into March, knowing that they executed in March last year? Most of these guys, they had the mental part down last year.
We'll see. I'm going to see how we handle this week. I think, that I believed in what happened last year, that you had I named a horse Bruin magic because of it. So, we had the magic of a team that was so committed to staying alive and winning. They were it was so obvious to me. Not that my other teams that had been in the tournaments didn't want to, but I could just tell, you watched our bench, you could just see it. It was magnetic. It drew people to be fans of ours that weren't even fans of ours. I think we got to capture that again somehow. But as far as talent wise, I think we have enough talent. I know we don't have, I don't know if anybody, Gonzaga has the best talent because of Chet and Timmy, because of those two guys, and Nembhard at the point. I think they have the best talent of anybody going in the tournament. But I think, I think from a talent standpoint, we have enough. The question is, can we capture the magic again?
All right, let's go to Ben Bolch, LA Times.
Good morning, Coach Cronin.
What's up, Ben?
Hey, so last year you kind of proved the theory about conference tournaments not being all that meaningful by losing the first game and then get the Final Four. But then obviously the flip side is a team like Oregon State needed to win it to get in. So what is kind of your mindset about the value and meaning of this tournament for the Bruins, given that, you're in the NCAA tournament, obviously like to improve your seed, but you saw what the benefits of not going deep were last year.
Yeah. It's the, it's an interesting position, for teams that are top 4 seeds, maybe. If you're not that high, you're probably, you're worried about getting on a roll and winning well, and winning and playing well. That it's a very interesting position. So I've been there before, at Cincinnati, I was there a lot where we won the regular season in the American and had to play on Sunday in that conference tournament. And I thought it was a disadvantage. So you just never know. I know Coach Pitino won it at Kentucky. They lost to Mississippi State. I'm well aware that Lute Olson hated conference tournaments when they started them in the Pac-12. I remember all him talking about how much he hated it. Bob Knight didn't like it. Coach Wooden never had to deal with it. So, you know, it's interesting. Obviously, you just want to play well. You want to, you know, it's an opportunity to play, to try to improve while winning games. Obviously, you'd like to win. But when you know, I think Illinois cut the nets down last year in the Big Ten, and I know that they would have traded that to be able to get out of the first weekend last year. And, you know, Brad's one of the top 10 coaches in college basketball. But that's the problem with our game. It can, you know, one and out. It can happen. So, you know, anything can happen in one night. It all ends quickly. So it's there's really no good answer. But for me, like, if you were to say, well, give me an example, like if somebody was injured or questionable, I would hold them out.
And just the downsides of a deep run are fatigue and potential for injuries, right? I mean, that's, you just. Yeah.
I mean, you can get injured in practice though. So, you know, again, at least our tournament ends on Saturday. Like I said, you know, my previous stop, our tournament we watched my last 2 years at Cincinnati, we cut the nets down, walked into the locker room and watched Selection Sunday, and then had to fly back to Cincinnati and turn around and fly somewhere else on a Tuesday. So that's, you know, at least here it's a short flight. We'll be home whenever it is, hopefully Saturday night.
Thanks.
Let's go back to Tracy.
Along those same lines, Mick, how much do you think playing in the Pac-12 tournament could possibly get you placed, let's say, in the San Diego pod? And I know you're highly competitive. You just want to win no matter what. But how much do you think about that going into the Pac-12 tournament?
I don't watch much TV. Isn't there a show where you can phone a friend? I got to phone my dad, because when I tell you this, I have no idea. None. Gave up years ago, Tracy, because like I never could ever predict I was always wrong. So I didn't know. Obviously it would be great to stay in San Diego, but I don't know what the odds are of that. I have no clue.
So when you think about other careers, like being a bracket predictor, you're saying that's not what you do?
No, yeah. Really, like, I mean, if you're the worst place on earth is the bubble. The stress and the pressure of the bubble. I've been there. It's tough. And I talked to Coach Pitino the other day. You know, my time at Murray State, my Racers made it this year again. But, you know, Coach Pitino's got Iona, and he was like, you know, he's got to win his conference tournament. I remember those days. Like, that's brutal stress. But no, like, I'll look, you know, see how my friends are doing, things like that as far as the bubble. But I don't know. I've got, like, I used to try, and I can't ever, you know, they say one thing, they do another. They use whatever to justify. I mean, who knows? And look, Martin Jarman's in Indianapolis. He's on the committee. So this is his first year. So I'm sure this offseason, I'll be able to pick his brain, and it'd be interesting to learn some things, how some of that stuff goes on. But no, like, and then, gosh almighty, where you're going to go, Tracy, who knows? I mean,
so during this week, obviously you're pretty busy, but do you have time to maybe get in the car and hit the Southern California Freeway tonight for a certain
somebody
event?
else will be driving.
Okay, there you go.
I got fortunately we have a very loyal Bruin that had Bart Cleveland that has a driver and a sprinter that I'll be in the back of tonight, sitting in traffic, I'm sure. That's all I can probably say. Headed east.
All right, let's finish up here with one more question from Ben.
But before that, at 2:00, I'll be watching the Bellarmine Knights, my friend Coach Davenport, in the Atlantic Sun Championship.
Just wanted to follow up. I talked to Joe Lenardi yesterday, and he said that he said,
Did you really?
Yeah. He said you guys are guaranteed either San Diego or Portland.
Really?
But you need to bypass, he's got Texas Tech right above you on the seed line. And because of some weird geography, he's got them in San Diego and you in Portland. But if you pass them, then you get San Diego. So just letting you know that.
I'd like to ask you guys this for Alex makes me, is there a chance that he's right about that? And I'm being serious because I know Joe obviously spends a lot of time on that stuff.
I think he's right about the San Diego Portland, but a lot of people got mad because they think the metrics should have you already above Texas Tech. So they're upset about that.
Anybody, Mike, Tracy, anybody, should we be above them? I honestly don't.
Sagarin, Pomeroy, and the net all have you above Texas Tech.
Absolutely. If you look at all the net, I mean, net is the biggest contributing factor, but if you look at Ken Palm, you absolutely should be. Yeah.
Ken Palm, you guys know that's the only thing I look at that.
Right. Just
for our efficiency ratings and things of that nature. So, well, it's good. I just told Sammy, it's a tough time to be a dad. I'm gonna, next weekend is her spring musical at Campbell Hall. So she's into that. She's got a part. So I'm going to miss that. So that's sad. It's a tough one for me. So that's really all I've thought about for next weekend.